Sluts and tards, if you watch this channel, then I know you have a thirst for knowledge. See, only higher mind beings can find this channel. That's something they don't tell you. You're on a higher plane of YouTube. And this channel is all about the search for knowledge. The desire to know everything. And today I brought you something for us to become more knowledgeable together. Now, documentaries are a good form of learning new things. You know, it's fun. It's like watching a movie. And today I found a great channel that's like mini documentaries. It's called Channel 4 Documentaries. It seems to be based in the UK, and as we all know, UK people are gross, so who knows what these fucking redcoats are gonna be getting up to. Before we get into it, like, subscribe, comment. I respond to all the comments, no matter what. You can say mean things to me, and I will respond. You can say awful, hurtful things to me. I'll respond. You can call me Indian. I'm still gonna respond. You can say I'm pretending to be black, like I'm Rachel Dolezal or something. I will still respond. That is my promise to you. The Jonah Wells comedy guarantee. Now let's hop into this little documentary. It's called I Contracted HIV on Purpose. Ask the Mass, Channel 4 Documentaries.
The term bug chasing refers to someone who's HIV negative but wants to be infected with the HIV virus.
I like how we got like 3 different sectors of life here. We got Caden, the gay man, New York, the black woman, and Holly, the androgynous lesbian looking fella. And then of course, our AIDS-riddled wolf. For whatever reason, they decided to give him a mask that looks like an AIDS-riddled wolf. Anyway, I'm judging too early. Let's see what Wolf has to say.
Bug chasing is actually a very, very small proportion of the gay community, and people who are HIV positive, the number that deliberately bug chased is again really quite a small proportion. I've been described as an ethical gifter.
Ethical gifter, I've never heard of that before. I wouldn't describe giving somebody HIV as a gift. Piece of shit guys need to start using ethical gifter as a defense when they give girl like chlamydia or something. It was an ethical gift. Wanted you to learn about your body.
That I have a conversation with someone, so I would never go up and have sex with someone randomly without first having a discussion about my status.
Why would anybody want to be given HIV?
For all sorts of reasons. Some see it as a fetish, some see it as a power play situation, some people want it so they can relax.
Damn, dude, the black lady hates this. I mean, even Caden's gay ass seems uncomfortable with it.
Seek any medical help for that at all?
I will do it at some point.
So you're gonna knowingly give yourself something and then use an NHS service that's already strange because you're fulfilling some sort of weird fetish or fantasy.
So the NHS, if you don't know, is the National Health Services in the UK, and so that's like universal healthcare. Her problem with him being a bug chaser is that he is getting the virus, giving it to other people, but then is eventually going to decide to heal himself using the NHS services. I don't know. I'd probably just be like, hey man, don't get AIDS.
I didn't contract it for fetish or fantasy reasons.
No, but will you use, my question is like, will you then use, you've knowingly given yourself something and then are you going to then use, are you going to go private so you're paying for it yourself because it's something you've chosen to give yourself, or are you going to use the NHS?
I won't be going private. I will be using the NHS at some point when I decide to go on medication.
Damn, dude, she sounds like an insurance provider. She's like, really? You're not going to pay for it privately? You're going to make us pay for it, the taxpayer. Hey, I'd be pissed too. I don't want my fucking tax dollars going to going to some dude who gave himself AIDS to help him stay alive. Like, buddy, you pay for that out of pocket, you crazy man. And then he's just sitting back like, I'm going to use the NHS's services.
I go on medication. However, there's also the argument that people who take PrEP use up NHS budgets as well.
I've been struggling to actually say anything because I have been living with HIV for 10 years and
he's been confronted by a fellow HIV haver, a fellow hiver.
right now I've got a handle on it mentally. From the very beginning I've been undetectable, no risk to my partners. But I know a lot of people don't have that privilege and people kill themselves after diagnosis when they realize what the reality is, right? That said, for a lot of people mentally, the gayest thing you can do is get HIV.
That's a great question. Is that the gayest thing you can do? 40-man cum dump or getting HIV? I mean, Eazy-E is rolling in his grave right now hearing this, finding out from a gay man that he did the gayest thing ever.
So I think it's no surprise that some people derive sexual pleasure, and it's part of people's sexual behaviors.
I don't for one moment try to take anything away from you and your experiences or negate what's happened to you. Before I decide to have sex with someone who asks me to give them HIV, I have quite long conversations with them before I meet to make sure they are fully aware of what the implications will be to them personally.
How noble.
Okay, yeah, the lesbian ain't having none of it. She's like, you're using our fucking NHS services. I need this. I bet she's got like some serious health condition and it's probably eating her up, or she knows someone with one.
Or they are fully aware of what the implications will be to them personally.
How noble.
I'm sorry?
Said how noble.
This motherfucker said, pardon? Like, you gonna stand on business about your fucking bug chasing? You're fucking crazy, dude. I tried to come into this with an open mind.
So what is the law in terms of giving people HIV?
There's something called reckless transmission, and if I passed on my HIV to someone who didn't know my status, that I hadn't disclosed it to, if they weren't aware of my status, I hadn't used a condom or taken other precautions, I could be charged with UBH. Personally, I've never had sex with someone who hasn't known my status, or if they haven't known my status, that I haven't had the type of sex that would they be at risk from contracting HIV.
Do you know how many people have contracted HIV from you?
That's what I'm interested in. Holly's fucking... Dude, me and Holly need to go fucking smoke a blunt or something. She looks like she smokes weed. But would she hate my content too much to give me a chance in friendship? Let me know in the comments.
Not everyone chooses to tell me, but yeah, I've got a pretty good idea of how many have tested positive after having sex with me.
What's your rough estimate?
Dude, he beats around the bush like a motherfucker. Even he knows this is fucked up.
I really want to... Yeah, no, I prefer not to answer that. I've never heard back from anyone that I've had sex with that has regretted a positive test result afterwards. I do know of other people who have regretted it. Maybe it just goes to show because of those outcomes that the approach I take is the moral, is the ethical approach to it, and helps minimise the risk of someone reacting badly to their diagnosis.
Dude, there's no more, like... I love gay people. There's no problem with, like, being gay. Be gay, you know, take the precautions to not get AIDS and whatnot. You know, don't be having fucking 37 partners, you know, unprotected with no, like, PrEP or whatever the fuck. The commercials where it's, like, two guys, like, rubbing each other. Like, but... I'm getting off topic. I get lost in my own head. Two guys rubbing each other and kissing. There really isn't, like, a moral way to... I don't think passing AIDS to someone... Because what if you give that person... And that dude, you know, with great power comes great responsibility. You've given that guy AIDS, and now he can give it to anybody. He's free to give it to anybody, and not just the guy that you've given it to. You don't know. He might not have the same morals as you. He might be like a supervillain.
Minimise the risk of someone reacting badly to their diagnosis. Or maybe I'm kidding myself.
He just realized in real time that he's fucked up.
What's the sexual element about putting yourself and putting your life at risk and putting other people's lives at risk? Where's the sexual element in that?
I didn't have a sexual element to it myself when I was chasing. It was for practical purposes so that I could relax more during sex.
Is there a sexual element to giving HIV to other people for you?
Not always. Although people approach me to have sex with them, to infect them with HIV, I still have to have some sort of sexual attraction or chemistry to them.
So you wouldn't say you fetishize the actual act of giving somebody HIV? You know what I mean? Like, yes.
It's just the attraction of having sex with someone.
What do you do for a living?
I can sort of anticipate the reaction that my answer will generate. I work in health services. It's not a clinical role, but it's an administrative role.
That's definitely a twist.
Why didn't he just lie? Don't worry, guys. It's just an administrative role. He's just the guy you have to talk to when you walk in, hands you stuff. What if he was a nurse? I want to open up a little clinic that is only ran by AIDS patients. The nurses, the doctor, the staff, all have AIDS.
What was your life like growing up?
What was your life like? I haven't seen up to this part. Let me make a guess. Molested. Molested for sure.
But it was a fairly normal family life. I had a good education. I lost my virginity to a man when I was 14, and
You had sex with a man when you were 14?
relationship. I still always considered that I was gay. When I was married, I did sometimes have sex with men, but when I did, my focus was always on as much protection as I could possibly have. If I had spread something to my wife through my own actions, I don't think I could have lived with myself. And so I took every possible precaution. You're shaking your head.
Yeah, because that's ironic. Oh, I wouldn't want to give her, I wouldn't
don't-
live with yourself, but you continuously would go out and have unprotected sex with men.
Any sexual activity I had with men when I was married, and I was still having sex with my wife as well, it was totally protected.
Oh my god, dude. Yeah. Oh, you cheated on your wife with dudes and you're like trying to be like, oh, but I use protection. Don't worry, guys. I'm a good guy. I don't know how he thought he was coming into this in the right.
I got divorced. It felt as if I was less off the leash almost in terms of sex. I knew what the risks were with having unprotected sex, and I knew at some point I probably would get HIV. But at that time, when I first started, I wasn't looking to deliberately get HIV, and that just sort of evolved over time.
Why, if you want to have unprotected sex, why not go on PrEP? Why contract HIV?
Yeah, I know. Certainly when I first started thinking about becoming HIV positive, PrEP wasn't an option. When I consciously made the decision to chase, PrEP was available, but because of other medication that I was on and the process I had to go through to get stable for another health condition, it really put me off going on PrEP and adding something else into the mix as well.
It's like, I can't take PrEP. It messes with my health. Can I have AIDS instead?
Sure.
It took 10 years for me to contract HIV.
10 years of pounding through man ass. That's dedication, okay? That is a decade of ass pounding to get AIDS. It's not you just smoke one cigarette to get cancer, okay? Lung cancer and HIV. Same thing.
HIV. Towards the end of that period, I decided that I would then start to actively seek HIV positive guys to have sex with. What I'm going to say now is probably going to really upset you and probably really sicken you.
Dude, I feel like it's worse when he goes, okay, what I'm about to say is gonna be fucked up. I'm about to say some wild shit. Like on my English accent, it's just me swallowing my tongue.
I then started seeking out guys who were happy to blood slam me.
Dude, that makes my skin I don't even know what that is. I don't know what blood slamming is, but there's no way it can be good.
And that is injecting me with their blood. I sought out 3 guys who were HIV positive, who were happy to inject me and I arranged to meet them. A few weeks later, I tested myself and I was HIV positive. When I got my test results, it was almost a bit of an anticlimax. It wasn't what I was expecting at all, and you still look disgusted.
Yeah, because you do disgust me.
Okay, then I appreciate everyone has a different idea about it.
You shot yourself up with AIDS! What do you mean? You look at me like I'm disgusting. You were... So, it wasn't just 10 years of butt slamming. He also was injecting HIV, like, I mean, you couldn't be going harder at trying to get AIDS.
What do you mean a different idea? You say things like you're justifying.
But some of them are justifiable, and I feel like you are closed off to it.
No, I'm not closed off to it. If I was closed off to it, I wouldn't be sat here listening to chat.
No, I think
if I was closed off about it, I would not be sat here listening to him.
Look.
Do not start coming to his defense, dude. No. That is not okay. It is not okay. Blood slamming. That's what he did. That's not okay.
I can relate to one thing you said quite deeply. Even though I don't share your decision to gift people, I have also experienced what it feels like to be always wondering when you're gonna get HIV. Since I contracted HIV, despite everything that happened and all the pain, like I cried for 6 months initially. I have never had better sex than after, because I don't have to worry about that one thing, so I get that.
I guess that's valid. There's plenty of ways to practice safe sex. I mean, one of them is not fuck a man's ass, but you love who you love.
And it saddens me that most people won't give it enough space to hear that. Like, this is unique. Most people will judge you before they even
But there's
consider.
No.
Well, this is what I'm talking about.
No, dude, I'm with her on this one. I don't even know what she's about to say, but she's probably right. Dude, even look at it. He's even given the posture like, yeah, this is almost indefensible. It's not okay. It's not okay. Take the medicine. You're so worried about your health. But you're like, I'm gonna get AIDS and I'm gonna chill with it for a while and do the noble cause Super AIDS Man and give it to everybody.
At the end of the day, you're playing with your life by choice
But
because you want to have more pleasure.
But pleasure is very important.
Sex is sex.
No.
Yeah, it is. Sex is
Nah.
sex. Sex is sex. Just because you want a bit more pleasure in bed. Like, there's not so many things that can give you extra pleasure that doesn't involve you having bareback sex. And doesn't involve you getting HIV and then giving other people HIV.
The fear that you're gonna get HIV is actually, it's not a little bit more pleasure. It ruins your intimacy for good.
I think it's genuinely like heartbreaking that people put themselves in that position and feel like they have to put themselves in that position. I really think that's so deeply sad. But on the flip side of it, I do think that there's so many issues with that.
I'd say that is a very empathetic take, and I could agree with that to a certain degree. It is very sad to think that you would always be worried about getting this life-threatening disease to have sex with the person you love. But I mean, if you're both only having sex with each other and you're on PrEP and you're taking the proper precautions, you should be pretty okay. I mean, I don't know a lot about fucking gay dudes, but the science is here.
That there's so many issues with that.
So it's a condition that is treatable.
Yeah, but then you're also putting more strain on the NHS, is what I'm saying. I'm gay, I've got a lot of gay friends, and I know people that have HIV. I don't know anyone that's actively wanted to have HIV, but I've seen people going through that, and I've been there for people that have gone through that.
And I understand why you and a lot of other people think like that as well.
But I understand why you feel like I get the side of it where you like that freeing moment then of it being like there's not this looming thing.
I totally get where you're coming from as well. For so many people, it's a life-changing moment and very traumatic. I'm not here to try and justify myself to anyone.
Yes, you are. You can tell by how you're acting. You want people to agree with you so bad.
I'm here to explain why I do the things that I do, but that's not necessarily justifying what I do. The way sometimes I think that this discussion has gone is that it seems that everyone in the gay community is wanting to be HIV positive, but
Nobody thinks that. I mean, I'm sure, like, you know, there are people that think that, but like most like regular people don't think that. That's the problem with you. You make people think that. Stop giving gay people a bad name. Separate yourself from the gay community and be like, just tell you guys, I'm not gay. I'm just gross.
in fact I'd say it's like a niche within a niche.
Why did you decide to wear a mask? And would you ever show your face, given what you've told us?
Oh, that's a good question. If you're so fucking proud of being Mr. AIDS, why don't you show your face, Mr. AIDS?
Because it is such an emotive subject, both HIV in general and particularly bug chasing and gift giving, then I wouldn't feel happy talking generally and openly about my choices and about my status.
You know what he's probably worried of? His job finding out that he likes giving people AIDS. That's my guess.
Whether I'll do them again in the same way in another life, I don't know. But I don't think the vast majority of people would ever truly understand my reasons for bug chasing, gift giving. It just doesn't seem logical to, I think, the majority of people, even within the gay community.
Even though I understand where you're coming from, I feel like it's almost undoing the work I spent 5 years in activism. This is not the most triggering thing that's happened today, because I actually get you. I don't agree with you,
Sure.
but I see where it's coming from. But what this has brought up is how a lot of people, particularly straight people, don't pay attention to the fact that society f***ed us and then points fingers at us for having issues, valid issues. And
I'm sorry you guys were molested, but I don't know if you can blame that on society. It's probably more like your uncle's fault.
issues and fetishizing the pain that we carry.
I'm not trying to shock you, and I appreciate that a lot of people do find it a very distressing topic. I'm not doing it to create that sort of reaction. Thank you though for listening to me, and even if you don't agree, for at least listening to what I've had to say. I appreciate that.
Likewise, I think this must have been really difficult for you. I appreciate it.
Cheers.
I like how he sprints out of the fucking room. That was fun. I really like that. This is probably going to be a pretty long one. But there was another video I wanted to check out, so you'll have to wait for part 2. Remember to like and subscribe.